Why hello tube. We got some shock suspense stories. EC archives. So this is a trade paperback of the first 6 volumes. And I thought we'd go talk about the first story of the first volume. Now I don't know if I'll go story by story. Just depends on how much I enjoy it. There's no way if I go story by story that the amount of days in GarbAugust left outweighs the amount of stories. But if this is really, really good, I want to go story by story, then we'll just drag it on past August. But I thought the first story was a lot of fun, and I thought I would go over it. So that's the the cover for the first volume. It even says that the picture has nothing to do with any of the stories in this magazine. It's just the shock suspense stories, and what's more shocking than an electric chair. And so the first story, and one thing that I didn't know is that this is the same people that did Tales from the Crypt. And I really liked the TV show Tales from the Crypt when I was younger. When I was a little kid, I remember staying up late and watching it. It was on like late Friday or Saturday nights on, I don't remember. Was it like Sci-Fi Channel or something? I don't remember what channel it was on. I remember watching them, staying up late and watching them. They were scary for a young Booknik. Yes, they were. The first one. Oh, I want to say too that spoiler alerts. If you have not read this and you want to read it, go get it. It's like $10. I'll put a link to where you can get it down below. I think it was like $10. And read it. Come back after you've read it. So, but we're only talking about the first story here, and the first story, the neat job. Dun dun dun. So this story was about a woman who married a man that she did not love, and he bought her the house. She absolutely hated the house. She thought it was god awful. It was packed floor to ceiling with uh, with antiques, and this guy was super controlling. He wanted it left alone to how it was. Anything was out of place, he'd come home and berate her and everything else. And one day he decides he's going to build a shop down in the basement. And of course, he wanted to keep it neat, so she wasn't allowed to touch anything or anything like that. I mean, this guy even controlled how the clothes were put away in the Chester drawers. That's how controlling he was. Well, one day, a picture frame fell off the wall, and she panicked. So she went and got the glass replaced. And she went down into his workshop area to grab a nail so she can rehang the picture. And he comes home mid job, and she accidentally breaks one of his jars that was neatly labeled, and he berates her about it. And he's like angry, so she grabs the nearest tool or whatever, and then of course must have hacked him to death. But she was so messed up by his abuse that she cleaned up the mess perfectly, and she labeled and arranged his hacked up body parts and in a nice, neat manner on the shelves. And of course, the detectives are like, um, uh, she says, "Look for yourselves. I cleaned up the blood, every drop." And detectives, "Yeah, lady, you certainly did a neat job. Very neat." So I thought it was a fun little story. As fun as crazy psychological abuse could be. Um, I thought it was a fun story, and the guy definitely got what he had coming to him. So the next one, maybe I should add two. The first one was the names don't mean anything to me, but the first one was made by Jack Kamen, Kamen. So maybe you you pros out there probably know who that is. I have no idea. Apparently, he did a lot of the EC archives stuff back in the day. So yeah, a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The next one I'll show you here. Yellow. Here's a tale of tension with an electrifying twist. So we're in war times, World War II maybe. So that'll be fun. A war suspense story. If it's good, if it's worth talking about, I'll be back with it. If not, I'll be back with the next story that's shocking and fun. So, have you read this? Have you read the volume one of the shock suspense stories? Have you read the Neat Job? Maybe you have the original. Maybe you read it as a kid. These are made in the 50s, I believe. So, you know, if you'd be you'd be in your 70s if you did, but you know, people live past 70. So that's it for this one, peeps. Cheers.